everyone! Today on Tarot Reviews with Tallulah, we're going to be reviewing the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck by Lucy Cavendish with artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. So many of you have asked me to do a review on this deck, and I really just thought that I had because I actually have an Oracle series entitled The Oracular Fantastical, and I use just this deck to talk about what some of the meanings are that I have found when I work with different card images with clients and with myself. So that series is ongoing. I haven't posted anything to it in a while, but I intend to continue that series. It's not a closed series, but I talk a lot. This is the only deck that I use in that series, and so I just assumed I had done a review, but several of you over the last few months have let me know that I haven't, and that you would all like to see a review of this deck. So there are two versions of this deck. The Australian edition was released in 2011, and then the American US edition was released in, let me just double check, 2013. There was also a book released last year called Wisdom of the Shapeshifters, which I purchased accidentally because I thought that it was actually like a more in-depth guidebook, and it's really just the deck system in book format. So if cards are scary for someone but you still want them to get the information in this deck, this is an option for you. So there are two different versions, and the decks actually do differ from each other quite a bit. So you're going to find that if you're a fan of Cavendish Oracle decks, a fan of Jasmine Beckett Griffith decks, that you're going to end up probably purchasing both decks, and that you're going to find a lot out of each deck that you love. Most of us end up combining the two decks together and have had great experience with that. That is what I choose to do with both versions because they are so different. I feel like it's when they're combined together, it's a cohesive deck, even though there are multiples of different cards. There's actually quite a lot of changes between the two decks, and when I was putting everything aside this morning for the review, I was kind of shocked. I'd forgotten how many differences there actually are between the two decks. You know, in certain Cavendish Griffith decks, there are some slight differences, like in Oracle, the Oracle of Shadows and Light, but this is actually a significant amount of difference between each. Now, just like with Oracle of Shadows and Light, for the US version, it's more teen geared. Beyond Words is the US publishing house, I guess we would say, and they've really geared it towards teens, which really disappoints me. So therefore, I primarily use the Australian guidebook, or the Oracle of the Shapeshifters guidebook, because it's more geared toward adults, and so if I am going to use the guidebook, I'll pull this one out. You can tell that I've actually done a lot of studying in this one, whereas in the US edition, I really haven't made any notes or done a lot of work with this guidebook. It's more, it's geared towards teens, but in this kind of like, I don't know, I don't like the way that it's geared toward teens, to be honest with you. So that is something that I find to be disappointing in the US version. The Australian edition guidebook is much more cohesive, much more balanced in its focus, I feel, and the only unfortunate thing is that you do need the US guidebook for a few of the cards whose titles were changed or really revamped in significant ways. So just like with Lucy Cavendish's typical guidebooks, you have a really nice guidebook. There's a nice intro section with quotes from The Cure, which always makes me happy. So let's see. Let me just tell you. The intro section's about 40 pages long, and there are some spreads. They're kind of basic spreads, nothing too fancy, more of an elemental Shapeshifters Celtic cross that she has, and then a basic 3-card spread. So this is really a deck where, as far as the spreads go, you can be very creative. You're not going to get a lot out of the spreads in the book itself. So let me just show you. So for the actual card meanings, there's a really small reproduction, the card number, title, keywords. Then there's a whole section on Wolf Moon Speaks, about Wolf Moon, and then there's the divination aspect. She doesn't really go into reversals in this deck, but of course you can feel free to use them if that's what floats your boat. Now let's talk about card backings. For the US edition, they have one of my all-time favorite card backings, especially for a Cavendish Griffith deck, and it's Owlin and Owl, and I love this backing. I love, first of all, that we have the Owl and Owlin, but I love that we have Maiden Mother Crone here. We have a kind of a Celtic pagan feel, and she really does give you that feeling of it's a shape-shifting deck. It's about animals, animal totems, and all of that here. And I forgot to mention in the guidebook she has a section on symbolism and animal totems as well, to kind of give you a jumping off point if you find that this deck really speaks to you. Those of us who use animal medicine in our work, in our healing work, or on our spiritual path, find that we connect to that in a really powerful way, and so she really does give you that kind of meat in this book, at least as a jumping off point for beginners. The cardstock is not that great, but it's okay in the Australian edition. For the US edition, here's the thing, it's a cute background, backing, and I would like this backing if I didn't have the Australian with the insanely amazing backing. So this backing is a little bit of a disappointment to me, even though I love frogs. Cardstock is even flimsier than the Blue Angel Australian edition, so again, that is a little bit disappointing. But those are literally my only gripes with this deck. The artwork is some of Jasmine's best. The way that the deck works with me and then with my clients, with others, is amazing. It's so seamless when I work with this deck. The intuitive hits that come through are always right on. They're really clear. I know exactly what the deck is telling me, and I'm able to have a really nice flow and communication with this deck. As someone who identifies magically as a shapeshifter, it just makes sense that a deck like this is going to work seamlessly. So if you're someone who uses a lot of animal magic, animal totems, if you're someone who is a psychic, a medium, and you really flow between worlds and realms, I think you'll find that this deck is a wonderful assistant in that process and very present to help you communicate clearly with others, but also translate what you're getting as far as messages, and then being able to share them with others in an effective way. The artwork is also beautiful in this deck, so for people that are new to card work, new clients coming in, this is a very beautiful deck to look at, and the artwork in and of itself pulls people in. So what I'm going to do first of all is just show you some of the images that were not changed in this deck. And then I will get into the changes because, like I said, there's actually a lot of them. So you can see that we have some of Jasmine's best artwork is in this. And just like with most Oracle decks now, we have title, key phrases. So Brother Raccoon, a safe place for you to go, and the card number, so you can look it up in the guidebook. So these are some of the key images that are not changed in either deck. The borders are this interesting type of border, and it's the same for both decks. So what I'm going to do is show you, this is the amount of cards that were changed in this deck. So what I'm going to do is show you, first off, the older version, the Australian edition, that image, and then I'll show you the American, the US edition, so you can see the change. So this is the Fairy Bee, My Life is Sweet, card number 6. And then in the Australian edition, the Fairy Bee, My Life is Sweet, newer artwork. Then Raised by Wolves, You Belong, in the Australian edition. I love this image. It's really sad that we lost this one. In the US edition, it becomes Hedgehog Love, Positive, Uplifting New Friends. And that's actually an older image, artwork-wise. I don't know if you can see, but for some reason with this deck, it tends to like scuff on tables and things like that very easily, so I do have these little scratches, and that's a little disappointing for me. In the original Australian edition, we have the Golden Phoenix, card number 12, something you thought finished bursts back to life. And then in the US edition, same thing, Golden Phoenix, something you thought finished bursts back into life. New image, newer artwork. Okay, so then in the Australian we have Phoenix of the Waning Moon. The moon is facing opposite of the way that we would see it in the US because it is an Australian deck, and she does talk about that in the guidebook, so if you're confused about that at all, she definitely addresses that. Something is about to end for now, card 13. And in the American US edition, a time to say goodbye, something is about to end for now. So, title change and image change as well. Miss Spiderweb, card 14 in the original, reconsider your alliances, make new connections. Updated art image, Miss Spiderweb, reconsider your alliances, make new connections. I actually like the new artwork better for this one. Then, Dinosaur Friends, Childhood Treasures resurface in the original. Updated artwork and title change of Your Imaginary Friend, Childhood Treasures resurface. So you can see how we kind of have that young adult feel going on. Deep Dark Sea Mermaid, card number 16. Find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness. Older artwork. Newer artwork, Deep Dark Sea Mermaid. Find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness. Originally, card 17 is A Beautiful Rat, Take Care of Yourself. Love that image. Becomes A Beautiful Little Worm. Same keywords, take care of yourself. You can see that. The Delicate Fairy and Her Ferret, card number 24, changes natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. Title change, The Delicate Fairy and Her Ferrets. Same keywords, changes natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. So newer artwork. The Mermaid and the Turtle Woman, card number 25, An Elder Will Teach You in the original. And I love the updated image. The Mermaid and the Turtle, An Elder Will Teach You. New updated artwork on that one. So the only thing that saddens me about that is that we lose Turtle Woman, which is more of a native title, an Aboriginal title, and it does make me sad that we lose that in the US edition. But she did decide to change that. Pose Brave Flight, You Will Not Let Fear Stop You this time in the original. A vast improvement. In the new one, the image takes up the entire card, same title, same keywords, but now you've got it on the entire card, so you can really look at that image when you're reading with it. Wolves of Venice, You Are Far, Far Away from Home in the original. And that becomes, I love this change. Strange Companions in Stranger Places. Challenges, use your imagination. So change of keywords, change of title, change of artwork for this card number. I love this image. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary. Creativity, genius, writing, expression, artistic flow. I love this image, but the newer one is my favorite image of the Poe series that Jasmine did. Same title, Once Upon a Midnight Dreary, Creativity, Genius, Writing, Expression, Artistic Flow. I have this card in a frame in my bathroom, actually. I love this image. Card number 33, originally Albino Alligator, Magical Protection is Necessary. Becomes A Loyal Guardian, a magical protector is there for you. Card number 35, Poseidon's Daughter, You Have Been Given Everything You Need. Becomes, again, title change, keyword change, artwork change. You are unlike anyone else. Your contradictions and complexities are interesting. The Unending Sadness of Looking Back, card 36. Endless regret, obsessive grief, replaying the past, negative nostalgia. In the US edition, we see that we get a close-up of the image. Same title, same keywords, but I like that we have more of a close-up. Little Owlin, Wisdom as Light as a Feather, card number 39 in the original. Then we have an artwork change in the new. Same title, same keywords. I love both of those images, but I think I slightly prefer the original. Amphitrite, The Queen's Blessing, card number 40. Becomes, this is interesting, title change, keyword change, artwork change, little brother, little sister, siblings, younger friends, responsibility. So you can see the shift towards more of a teen, young adult audience in the American version. Card 41, Mermaid in a Koi Pond, rediscover your individuality, become the dragon, one of my favorite cards in this deck. Becomes Mermaid in a Koi Pond, same keywords. I love both of these images. I can never decide which one's my favorite. Then the final image in the card changes artwork. The original artwork is the Mermaid of Immersion, Complete Commitment. I love this image. It's my favorite of the two. So newer artwork in the American version, the Mermaid of Immersion, same keywords, different updated artwork. So you can see that that's actually a significant amount of changes between the two decks, and it's why I'm saying, especially in this case with the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, you may indeed find that purchasing both decks is a really good option for you. If you are in America and you can purchase the American edition online. The Australian edition, if you can't find that through other distributors or you're looking and you just can't come across it, go to Jasmine Beckett Griffith's Strangeling website. Last time I checked, she has signed editions of her Oracle decks, or the Oracle deck she's done artwork for. So she has a signed Australian edition and a signed US edition of the Oracle of Shapeshifters. So if you can't find them, you can find them on there, and her price is very reasonable. You're getting a signed copy, and you'll have both editions then. This is one of those decks that people are either absolutely in love with and work with for the rest of their lives, or it doesn't really speak to you and you'll pass on it. But as I've said time and again, this is one of my all-time favorite Oracle decks to work with. It loves to read with others. It gives extremely clear, concise, powerful communication when you are reading with the deck, and it's a wonderful deck to use for yourself, but it also plays well with others. At least in my experience, it's a deck that's more than happy to work with others. It loves to go to like all-day reads or large group gatherings and be present for multiple energies in one space. The shape-shifting theme is true to, I guess I would say, my experience of this type of magical work. And she really does give a lot, Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith give a lot of honor to the animals and the totems that are depicted here. And you will find assistance in understanding the symbolism in the guidebook. It's a great guidebook, very thorough, one that you'll enjoy reading and taking notes in. And, you know, going back and looking over and taking more notes as you work with the guidebook again and again. This is a beautiful deck. I have deep love for this deck. I'll use this deck for the rest of my life, so I highly recommend this deck. This is one time when I'm going to tell you that it is worth it to invest in both editions of the deck. And then you'll find that, like me, many of us will combine both the editions together. And, you know, it's one larger deck, but so it does make shuffling a little more tricky. But it's definitely really, really helpful because you've got all of them in one deck system, and you can have all the beautiful images, the different images. And I actually love it when I get two of the same card that show up, because I know that the message is magnified. It's manifold for me. So if you're on the fence about purchasing this deck, I would really recommend you give it a purchase. It's beautiful. It's not overpriced. It's lovingly crafted. It's given the theme, the idea, the magical properties are given a lot of honor and respect, and it's a beautiful deck to work with as a reader. As a collector, it's some of Jasmine's best artwork, and it's one that you will enjoy looking at for years to come. So I am wishing you all well, sending you many blessings, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.